Hello, Falcons. I am back to read Chapter 9 of Bob by Wendy Mass and Rebecca Stead. My apologies for not getting this up last night, but I had a few technical difficulties, so I'm going to read it this morning. Livy's point of view. Poor Rufus, Bob is saying, smoothing Rufus's short green elephant fur. Did you fall in that deep, dark well? Bob will keep you safe now. You will never be in that dark well again. I think Bob sometimes forgets that some of us are real live creatures and some of us are inanimate objects. It must have been because of all that time he spent in the closet with the Lego pirates, Mr. Monkey, and the pirate who got lost. While Bob and Rufus are having their little reunion, I'm putting 2 and 2 together, as Dad says, except it's more like trying to add the square root of 7 and 31 to the 5th power. Bob says I rescued him, but he also says he went to the chicken house in the first place because I was cold. Not him, me. And I was cold because I was wet, and now it turns out poor Rufus was also wet. Grand Nicholas says I loved Rufus. I took him everywhere with me. So I am beginning to wonder if maybe I am the one who fell in the well. If maybe Bob saved me. Bob, I say. He ignores me. He's sitting on the edge of my bed talking to Rufus with his legs crossed and one side of his tutu sticking up. A strap is sliding down over one skinny green shoulder. Wouldn't I remember falling into the well? Maybe I hit my head. If I hit my head, I could have drowned. But could Bob really have pulled me out? He doesn't look very strong. Bob, I say again. He looks up. Yep. What if I didn't save you? What if you saved me? No, he says, you saved me, Livy. We have to go outside, I tell him, right now. Outside? It's almost bedtime. It's getting dark out. He looks at me with the big eyes. I know, I say, throwing him Sarah's sweatshirt. I'm not too excited about the dark either, but this can't wait. 5 minutes later, we're at the far end of Gran's yard where the stiff brown grass gives way to a lot of trees and rocky ground. It was easy to sneak out of the house because Gran was on the phone and Mom was putting the baby to sleep. We just walked out the front door, which Gran almost never uses, and then ran around to the back of the house and over to the well. Bob runs up to it but doesn't touch it. He peers over the top. He has to stand on tiptoes, and then walks around the well slowly, looking as serious as a green guy can look in a tutu and a red sweatshirt so big on him that the zipper is swinging down by his ankles. What are we looking for? He says. Clues? Bob, do you remember being here with me? With Rufus? He shakes his head and points to the chicken house. I only remember the chickens. But I do remember the well. Not just from yesterday's walk with Mom when she talked a lot about collecting stones with her father to make the well wall, but from before, from when I was 5. For instance, I know that if I walk around this well, I will see 3 little stones jutting out of the wall, one above the other, like 3 little steps that I might have tried to climb once. I circle the well slowly, and there they are. I raise one knee and try to put my foot on the lowest little stone step. There's only room for my toes. Bob, you don't remember this place at all? He shakes his head again, and I'm out of memories. I definitely don't remember falling in. I force myself to look into the well's deep dark, and I shudder. Let's go back to the chicken house, I say. It's the nearest thing to the well. That's where Bob thinks our story starts, even though I'm feeling more and more sure that it starts exactly where we are now. It takes less than a minute to walk to the chicken house. Bob stops just outside the fence and says he's not going in. I don't like that chicken, he says, pointing at a big one. She has it out for me. Bob, pay attention. This is where you watched me wake up, right? Yes, Livy, inside, just like I told you. And then what? I say. And then you said you had to go to breakfast, that Gran would worry. I remember wondering what breakfast was. And you said it was usually something good, like pancakes or waffles, so I went with you. Bob is excited now, going up and down on his toes. It almost looks like a real ballerina move. Okay, show me how we got to the house. We walked, silly. I can't fly as far as I know. Ha ha. Show me exactly the way we went. Maybe we'll see something important. He looks at the chicken and thinks for a second. We walked along the edge of the grass near the trees. You called it going the long way. When Bob says the long way, I get this memory like a picture flashing in my head of Gran's yard, all green in the cold sunshine. And for the first time, I remember Rufus. I remember holding him, how soft he was, and how I tucked him under one armpit to keep him safe while I used two hands to climb over a rock or a fallen down tree trunk at the edge of the grass. Now we're getting somewhere. Show me the long way, I tell Bob. We start picking our way along the edge of Gran's lawn, tripping over tree roots and stumbling on the little rocks that are loose in the dry dirt. Ouch, Bob says, bending to rub his leg. It's not that bad, I say. Not for you, maybe. You're wearing pants. I start laughing really hard, because now Bob has a twig stuck to the back of his tutu. Against the dusky blue sky, it looks like he has a little tail. Bob stops and turns to me. I can't see his face, only two glimmering eyes. Stop, he says. Sorry, I'm still laughing. When something hits my funny bone straight on, I just can't stop. But Bob is suddenly serious. Livy, it's our rock. He points to a smooth gray-white rock. It's like a little table, almost a perfect rectangle, laying flat in the ground and reflecting the moonlight. He hops up onto it. He's a good hopper, very springy. Remember? You said it was a Sylvester rock. We had picnics here. You mean like the book, Sylvester and the Magic Pebble? It actually does look a lot like the rock that Sylvester turned himself into. He wished to be a rock to save himself from a lion, and then he couldn't wish himself back. His parents looked for him everywhere. That part always made me really sad. Livy, this is where you saved me that first day. On this rock? Saved you from what? Bob drops his voice. From a monster. Bob, really? A monster? I was so scared I could barely move. My feet were stuck to the ground. You grabbed my hand and pulled me all the way to Gran's kitchen door. You saved me, right here. What kind of monster? Oh, a toothsome and furry monster, also fast. A fast, toothsome, furry monster, and so loud that's screeching. He covers his ears. I pull his hands down. Bob, you're safe. There's no monster here. Just tell me what happened. Maybe we should go inside now, Bob says. Bob, maybe that monster was from your world. Maybe what you're remembering is a clue. It'll help us figure out where you came from. I start hunting around the rock for more clues, but now it's almost too dark to see. Bob is nodding, excited. Yes, maybe in my world, I am the people like you are the people here. But in my world, there are monsters, and they run after us, screeching like this. And then Bob makes a noise. I look up from my clue hunt. That's the noise the monster made? That's exactly what it sounded like. Do you remember it now? Have you ever even heard such a horrible sound? Actually, I have, because the sound Bob made was this. Meow. Bob, I'm pretty sure that wasn't a monster. I think maybe it was a cat. A cat? Do you mean a small domesticated mammal, catcher of rats and mice? I guess so. Most cats are cute and friendly, and they say meow. They do? His look of terror disappears. Well, it doesn't say anything about that in the dictionary. But still, it was very brave of you, Livy, to save me. He smiles. Then he pats the Sylvester rock. And I always liked this rock. I think I get it. Bob saved me from drowning, and then I saved him back by walking away from a cat? But none of this has helped us figure out anything about where Bob came from. I'm going to have to think of something else. I sit down hard on the Sylvester rock. It wobbles a little. Livy? Yes? Can we go home now? I want to introduce Rufus to Mr. Monkey. We walk into the house the same way we left, and no one even knows we were gone. When we get upstairs, Bob lies down on the bed and insists that he needs Band-Aids for his scratched-up legs. I can't see any marks on him, but he says he heard on a television commercial once, and he definitely needs one on each knee. So I go to find some Band-Aids in the bathroom cabinet. When I come back into the room, I see Bob still flat on the bed, with Mom standing over him. I freeze right where I am in the doorway. There you are, Mom says, turning to me. Her eyes find the Band-Aid box in my hand. What happened? Did you hurt yourself? I try not to look at Bob, who is lying very, very still and staring straight ahead, as if Mom might not notice a tutu-wearing green not zombie the size of a 4-year-old. I can see his chest moving up and down when he breathes. In fact, I think he might be hyperventilating. This? I look at the Band-Aids as if they just showed up and surprised me. Oh, no, I mean, yes, no, I have a sore toe, that's all. Let me see, Mom says. So I take off my sneaker and point to my big toe, and she coos over it and puts a Band-Aid on for me. When her head is down, I wave at Bob to get under the bed, but he's so busy pretending to be the world's weirdest stuffed animal that he doesn't even see me. I'm trying to figure it out. Has she seen him? Can she see him? A second later, I have my answer. Mom goes straight to the bed, flips down the blanket, and tells me to get in. She doesn't even tell me to brush my teeth or anything. She says we need a little snuggle time, and when I'm in bed, practically squashed, right up against Bob, she sits on the edge of the mattress and starts patting my head like she does sometimes. She can't see him. I'm leaving early, Mom says, before breakfast. He'll probably still be asleep. Okay. I tell the stomachache not to show up, but it shows up anyway. You're good staying here with Gran, right? It'll be a lot more fun than all the time in the car. Sure. Go away, I tell the stomachache. She can't wait to have some real time with you, you know. I know. You're going to make that cake together, remember? Yes. Then Mom asks if I want a story, and of course I do. Close your eyes, she says. Once upon a time there was a remarkably brave mouse named Leah, and she tells me about a mouse princess with a baby mouse sitter who cries at exactly 4 p.m. every day. And there's a giant frog and a magic wishing well, and a pie made out of flies and cheese. It's the kind of story she hasn't told me in a long time, the kind she used to tell me when I was little. My stomach doesn't feel any better, but it doesn't feel worse either. Did you make that up? I ask when she gets to the happily ever after part. She kisses my forehead. It's my own silly version of an old fairy tale. A fairy tale about a magic well? Mom turns out the light, kisses me again, and whispers, See you in a few days. Mom? Yes. You're not leaving until morning, right? Right. She blows me one more kiss and closes the door behind her. Did you hear that story? I whisper to Bob when she's gone. I wish our well were magic. I feel him turn his head, and all I can see in the dark are his big wet eyes. I wish I had a mother, he says. I don't know what to say. Bob is alone in the world. Totally, completely alone. Bob, I say finally, maybe you do have a mother. Maybe you have a whole big family. But he doesn't answer. Okay, Falcons, that's the end of Chapter 9, and I will read Chapter 10 tonight and put it up in your classrooms. I hope you all have a fantastic day today. Until the next